नानक नाम जहाज है, चढ़े सो उतरे पार। जो शरदा कर सेब दे, गुर पार उतारन हार। हम वो नहीं है जो झुक जाए, हर तूफान से हम टकराए। हम वो नहीं है जो झुक जाए, हर तूफान से हम टकराए। हर सपनों को मिले मंजिले, यह अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया। नए रास्ते हर पल बने अपने ख्वाबों का इंडिया। We're rising high, we're rising high. Oh, 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 gonna touch the sky. Oh, 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 we're rising high, we're rising high. Oh, 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 gonna touch the sky. सोच को पंख दिलाए, उंगली से मुट्ठी बनाए। हम तो हरदम ही यार बाजी मार जाए। नाम जब मिले ना हो, ना तेरा न मेरा हो, मैप पे रोशन बस एक नाम हमारा हो। शाइनिंग इंडिया दूर नहीं है, फ्यूचर जिसका हम वही हैं। हर सपनों को मिले मंजिले, यह फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया। नए रास्ते हर पल बने अपने ख्वाबों का इंडिया। We're rising high, we're rising high. Oh, 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 gonna touch the sky. At Franchise India Group, we believe the future belongs to the entrepreneurs and their best rewards are yet to come. Gonna touch the sky.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for the lovely motivational message as well as video. Dear friends and families who have joined us today, we welcome you to the 42nd episode of Business Opportunity with Chai, a webinar series. I would request Anirudh if we can go just one slide up. Thank you so much, Anirudh. So we welcome our panelist Gaurav Maria sir, Chairman Franchise India Group, and we also welcome Sonia ma'am, our MD, Franchise India Brands Limited. She's the director at Remax India also. Here we talk about brand of the day. Yes, we have brand of the day, Canada Vale. And today we are talking about why Canada Vale, why one should take their franchisee. And we have opportunity that we have Anirudh, who will talk about his brand, his journey, and he will definitely describe and give information about how they are creating value in market. Canada Vale, a leading immigration and overseas education consulting business. They already have presence in 4 continents and at different 9 locations. So welcome to the webinar, Anirudh. Over to you to share your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, and very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking time and visiting this webinar today. I'm sure you will get something out of it. So let's start with the presentation now. First of all, I'll introduce you to the brand CanadaValley.com and our value proposition. So CanadaValley.com, as you know, is a leading immigration and overseas education consultancy with presence in all the 4 continents. So we have our offices in Canada, in India, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, Oman, and UAE. I am an RCIC, as in I'm a member of the Immigration Council of Canada, and I'm authorized by the Canadian advise on Canadian immigration matters. So you will see that there are a lot of immigration companies in India, I mean, popping up every day. However, the immigration companies who are dealing in Canadian immigration also need to be affiliated to the ICCRC Canada, so that they are authorized by the Canadian authorities to offer immigration advice. But most of them, unfortunately, are not authorized by the Canadian immigration authorities. In order to be authorized by the Canadian immigration authorities, one must be an RCIC, as in a regulated Canadian Immigration Council. So I have a license with the RCIC and I'm recognized by the government of Canada. So that is one of the USPs that we have, which not many people have it here in India. So what are the things that we deal in? Well, of course, we provide immigration advice. So be it, I mean, a lot of people here must have heard of permanent residency. It's the buzzword these days. Canadian PR is, I mean, trending globally. So we help eligible candidates to apply for permanent residency of Canada. So we handle all the immigration files. And we also help students to study, I mean, apply for a student visa in Canada, and we help them with the entire process, starting from the college admission and then the student visa application. And then, of course, we also help them with all the pre-departure briefing. And then we have services once the candidate lands in Canada as well, be it opening a bank account or find a job or some legal assistance. We are there for them. I mean, we do all the hand holding after they arrive in Canada as well. We have a network of more than 500 Canadian colleges and universities, and we help students in admission with undergraduate as well as postgraduate programs, be it diplomas or degrees. We are dealing in everything pretty much. We also offer online and offline IELTS tutorials. So the offline tutorials are, of course, held at our centers, and then there are online classes. So during this Corona pandemic, we are mostly offering IELTS classes online. Now, IELTS exam is an English language exam which every student or permanent residency applicant needs to appear for before they plan to, move to Canada. That is a mandatory requirement. We also conduct a free eligibility assessment test for candidates who are interested to move to Canada. First of all, we have to screen their profile and check whether they are eligible to move to Canada. So that is the eligibility. And we are also associated with designated Canadian angel investors and business incubators to facilitate startups. So not many immigration companies based out of India are helping in the startup program. So startup visa is a visa through which startups from different countries can move to Canada, and you need designated angel investors for that. And we do have them in our network. Now here on this slide, you can see the list of our services that we are offering to our clients. So it's pretty much everything to do with Canadian immigration. So we say that we deal in all things Canada, be it immigration, visa, work permit, IELTS tutorials, startup program. We also help investors and entrepreneurs to set up their business in Canada. Education, as in we help students with college admission and then the student visa process. We also provide post-landing services when the candidate arrives in Canada. So you see, I mean, getting the visa is not the goal. Getting the visa is just the start of the journey. The real journey begins once you arrive in Canada. And if you get someone to do the hand-holding process there, to mentor you there, then that's what really matters, because you need connections to make the right move. You need a direction in a new country where you don't know anyone. So if you get the right kind of connections there, then it saves a lot of time and money, and you can get your work done. We also provide job search assistance in Canada. And then, of course, there is pre-departure orientation. We also help in spouse sponsorship. So for people who move to Canada when they want to bring their spouse along with them, we also help them to facilitate the spouse sponsorship process. And then, of course, there is super visa for other family members like parents and grandparents. Well, now we will discuss why Canada. I mean, there are so many countries, developed countries in the world, which you can choose as your second home. Why Canada in particular? So Canada has one of the highest standards of living globally. I mean, it's a country with excellent living standards, and the crime rate is also very low, and people are overall very happy. So Canada ranks pretty high in the happiness index as well. It has all the facilities that a government can offer. It is also a very diverse country, wherein people come and settle down from pretty much all corners of the world, and it's also very economically progressive. It's growing at a very exponential rate, and the government also offers free healthcare to permanent residents. And there are also grants as far as higher studies are concerned till class 12th, as in secondary and higher secondary education. It's completely free for permanent residents. Now, the Canadian Immigration Ministry has announced that Canada needs 1 million immigrants in the period between 2018 and 2021. So that means they need more than 3 lakh skilled immigrants per year. Now, there is a criteria, when they say skilled immigrants, there is a criteria. So we need to assess every profile. I mean, you get points based on your education, age, English language proficiency, and number of years of work experience. So every candidate needs to be assessed whether he or she is eligible or not. That's what we do. And then we can process their files for permanent residency of Canada. Reason being, Canada is, Canada has an aging population. So 1/3 of the population of Canada is nearing the age of retirement. So they need more and more skilled professionals to contribute to the economy. So that is why they are welcoming people from all over the world. Now, if we look at the city of Toronto, which is pretty much the commercial hub of Canada, it has created more jobs last year compared to San Francisco, Seattle, Washington, D.C., and the entire Silicon Valley put together. So Toronto is the new upcoming place where the new Silicon Valley will be based out of. That's what the trend is saying. Now let's look at why someone should study in Canada. I mean, there are other countries like Australia, UK, US, then why Canada? So first of all, if you study in Canada, the students get the opportunity to obtain permanent residency of Canada after completion of their studies and working there for a couple of years. Canada is also ranked internationally as the best place to study, work, and live. And it has world-class academic standards which are recognized globally. It's cost-effective. It's more economical compared to the UK, US, and Australia. Students can also work part-time while they're pursuing their studies. Canada is also home to some of the top-ranking universities in the world. And the employment rate in Canada is high. So 90% of the students get a job within 6 months of their graduation from a Canadian university or a college. And they also get a work permit, and they can apply for permanent residency. Most of the other countries like UK, US, they usually have to come back to India, and then they have to apply for a work permit if they want to study in Canada. If they want to work in that particular country, be it US or the UK. However, in Canada, while they are within the country, they can apply for a work permit once the study program is completed, and eventually they can also obtain permanent residency in Canada. So they can settle there for good and avail of all the good facilities that the government has to offer. Indians surprisingly account for over 1/3 of Canada's international students. Now, this is as per the data provided by the Canadian Immigration. So, which is a very high number. So, people don't really miss their home. Indians especially, if they study in Canada, because 1/3 of Canadian students, international students in Canada, is comprising of Indian students. Now, let's look at some data here. So as per this data, again published by the Immigration Authorities of Canada, in 2019, from India alone, there were 219,000, so close to 220,000 students from India alone in 2019. And then The second country is China, which is only 1,41,000. So Indian students are pretty much dominating in Canada. Now let's look at some of the benefits of Canadian permanent residency. We have been talking about permanent residency so long. Now let's look at the benefits. So first of all, a Canadian permanent resident is entitled to free healthcare in Canada for himself as well as the entire family. And then the candidate also gets basic pension from the Canadian government if he or she retires after working there for a couple of years. There is unemployment insurance. There is access to subsidized education. The PR can also sponsor other eligible family members to be permanent residents of Canada. And the PR enjoy the same protection as a Canadian citizen in Canada. So the only difference between a Canadian citizen and a Canadian permanent resident is that a Canadian citizen holds a passport and right to vote in Canada, which a PR doesn't. But apart from that, the rights and the facilities that a PR enjoys in Canada is similar to what a citizen in Canada gets to avail of. Now, PR in Canada can also apply for Canadian citizenship after staying in Canada for a period of 3 years in an overall period of 5 years. And PR is also entitled to other social security services and benefits, like if he or she loses a job or is below the basic income level, then he or she can avail of other benefits from the government like social housing and other allowances. There is childcare allowance for every child. A PR gets about $700 per month. And a PR can live, work, do business or study anywhere in Canada, in any of the provinces. Now let's look at one of the charts which talk about the number of PR based on the this is a bit old, this data. However, we will provide you with a new set of data as well. However, in 2016, there were 1,47,000 people from India who got PR in Canada. So every year, there are about 1 lakh to 1,50,000 Indians who move to Canada to obtain permanent residency. Now, the numbers are so huge. We need to understand that every year there are more than 2 lakh students, from India who go to Canada to study. And again, there are more than 1 lakh people who obtain permanent residency of Canada. Now, and the number of applicants are much more because not every applicant is getting the status of a student or a PR. So the market is huge. That's what convey here, that from India, if we put the students and the PR applicants together, more than 3.5 lakh people are moving from India to Canada every year. So the market is enormous. It's huge. Now let's look at business immigration. What are the opportunities for entrepreneurs who want to move to Canada? So Canada nurtures entrepreneurship, and it has a very good tax system, again depending on the sector that we are talking about. And Canada is also home to 3 of the most desired cities to live in the world, namely Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary. Very conducive environment for businesses, and the government also has a lot of grants for and people who want to move to Canada and run their business there, they can obtain permanent residency easily along with all their family members. So we also deal in business immigration. Let's look at some facts and figures quickly. Now, US employers have stated that everyone wants a piece of Canada. The Canadian dream is quickly replacing the American one. Like I mentioned before, Canada needs more than 1 million immigrants in the next 3 years. And more American companies are moving to Canada in search of tech talent because the immigration laws are more favorable in Canada compared to the US. So more and more American companies are setting up their offices in Canada, Facebook, Amazon, and Google, to name a few. And as a result, many skilled employees are also migrating from the US to Canada. So the influx is towards Canada these days. That's pretty much trending. And as we know, due to this COVID-19, it's a very unfortunate situation. And about 135 million skilled Indians are going to lose their jobs in the next 2 years. That's the projection of the Economic Times. So these people need to find an alternative way of livelihood, and Canada needs more and more skilled employees. So we can always tap into this huge number of people and help them to move to Canada to get a better lifestyle and stable future there. If you look at the IELTS industry, in Punjab alone, the turnover of that 100 crores. So if we put India together, it's going to be much more. So even IELTS industry is really growing in India, and we offer IELTS tutorials, both online and offline formats. Let's look at some commercials quickly. Although this will be delved into, deeper when we sit across the table and we discuss this in greater detail. So if we look at the initial investment, including the infrastructure, so again, we have two different formats. One is for Punjab and Gujarat, because these are the two biggest markets as far as overseas education and immigration are concerned. Even the other states are doing very well, but Punjab and Gujarat are the largest markets. So if you're talking about Punjab and Gujarat, the requirement for the area capacity of the office should be 1500 square feet plus. The other cities in India can be anywhere between 900 to 1500 square feet. So we are looking at an initial investment of 8 to 10 lakhs, which includes the franchisee fee and the infrastructure costs, including the signage, equipment, and initial interior fit outs. And when we look at the revenue, so the revenue model is excellent out here. And that is why, I mean, this is one business that everyone must consider. So the top line is about 2 crores annually, wherein we have taken say 300 odd students for IELTS in a year, because IELTS is becoming popular day by day. IELTS test is in fact required by all students who want to study abroad, not only in Canada, be it UK, Australia, or Europe, or Canada. Everyone needs to take the IELTS test. So there is a huge market out there for IELTS students. And once the IELTS students come to our centers, we also convert them eventually to study in Canada or apply for Canadian permanent residency, because IELTS is required for both the cases. So there are 300 students, on an average that we are looking at annually from one center. And the number of students is going to be 50% of those IELTS students that we are going to enroll for overseas education. So about 150 students. And we have calculated a success fee. So say students that register with us for overseas education, 95% of them are going to get their student visa eventually. And there is also a success fee on that, because the college also pays us some handsome commission on the admissions that we get them. And then there is revenues from Forex. So we need to transfer the tuition fee and open a bank account for the student in Canada, for which we also, have some commission from the Forex part. And then, of course, for PR applicants, permanent residency applicants, we have a good fee, so good revenues from there as well. So we are, making the calculations based on 50 applications per annum into 50,000 plus 85% of the success fee. So putting everything together, the top line is about 2 crores. And if we deduct all the OPEX and the royalty, marketing costs, everything, if we deduct from there, the net profit per franchisee that you are looking at is going to be approximately 60 to 65 lakhs. That's about 5 lakhs a month. The break-even period is going to be from 7th month onwards. So that is what the commercials look like. And this needs to be discussed in greater detail once we sit across the table and take it further. So thank you so much for your valuable time and hearing me out patiently. And I wish you all the best and stay safe. And we are going to overcome this Corona period really soon. And immigration and overseas education is one business wherein, once the student or the PR applies, the application takes about, say, 4 to 5 months. So, people are applying even now because they are going to travel sometime in September or October, or maybe, early 2021. So this is a business which is not that much affected by Corona, and people are doing everything online. They are processing their files online because ultimately they're going to travel early in 2021. So thank you so much, everyone. Over to the host. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Anirudh. Thank you, very well, valuable. And I think before we start, I think we would like to know a little bit from your own background. I think it's very important because you share that very few people are qualified to really do this, because there is in the business of immigration, I think quality advisors are missing. While the aspiration of immigration or living abroad or working abroad or studying abroad is very, very large market. Almost every second Indian would have aspiration to do something abroad. You might not like to permanently settle out. You still want to have something going on. You can have kids going on studying abroad, or you can have some partial work being done, or even invest in some business. A lot of Indians are starting startups overseas because they feel that there is a bigger exposure they get to the globe and bigger distribution they get for their products and so forth. But before we start all that, I would like to, you should share your own background and how you got into this business and what you did and how you're also qualified to be an advisor on a Canadian immigration.
Sure, thank you. So I'll give you a brief about my profile. So the first time I went to Canada, that was in 2011. So that's been a long time. And then what I realized is that a lot of Indians aspire to move to Canada. So a lot of people start their journey as a student, and then eventually they work their way through permanent residency. And then there are a lot of working professionals who want to obtain Canadian permanent residency straight away, because there are so many benefits of Canadian permanent residency, and the job market is also pretty good. Even the business scene is good. So that is the time when I decided to study immigration law in Canada so that I can become an authorized immigration counsel to help people from all over the world to move to Canada, because Canada is offering excellent opportunities for people from all across. People really succeed in Canada. I mean, there are students who go to Europe, there is a language barrier, and eventually they have to come back to India. But in Canada, that is not the case. They settle down in Canada and they all eventually flourish in life. So, Canada thrives on immigration because, as you understand, there is no native population in Canada. I mean, those are the First Nations people. But then the people who make up the economy of Canada, it's a very culturally diverse place, and it's made up of immigrants. That's the backbone of Canada, and it's one of the largest industries in Canada. So I thought of getting into this business. I studied immigration law. I got my license as an RCIC from the Immigration Council of Canada, and then we got into this business. And right now we are doing pretty well. We have our in Delhi, in Calcutta, and we are expanding in Punjab as well. We are doing pretty well in Africa. Like I said, we have our presence in Cameroon, Nigeria, and Ghana. And now we are also tapping into the Middle East with our presence in Dubai and Oman. And in India, we expect to grow exponentially in the coming 2 or 3 years. We are eyeing about 50 rollouts in terms of franchisee. A reason being that India is the largest market from where we source Canadian immigrants, as in permanent residents, because India has a very skilled population and people also aspire to move abroad. And right now, Canada is offering the best opportunities compared to any other country in the world. And also in terms of students, I mean, the maximum number of students, like we have seen in 2019, there were about 220,000 students who moved from Canada to, who moved from India to Canada. So India is the biggest market so far, and we are pretty much tapping into it. And that's what our vision is, 50 rollouts in the next 2 years.
Very helpful, and I think so that's why it makes your opportunity special, because this is you are very well qualified, and a lot of people should know that there are many companies out there who are claiming to be a consultant, but they don't have the right qualification and ability to advise people on immigration, especially to Canada. So Anirudh is a very well qualified and certified by the immigration authorities. And also now getting into the next point, why we thought that this is a great opportunity for our audience, because we feel that this is a business which you can start with a very low capex. It doesn't require too much of, it's a service business. You need to just be a counselor to advise. And we should also encourage a lot of people who are very qualified, maybe some professionals who are there who are very qualified, and today they don't want to pursue their career in the jobs or other things. This can be a great opportunity. This can be also opportunity for people who have some complementing business, like you are already in education, like somebody wrote from Patiala that they are already in form of education where they're teaching. So they can also complement this business and they can extend that service to others. So what is the larger profile of entrepreneurs you would see, Anirudh, who would be the right people to join in? That's one question. Second question is, because today everybody is looking at a low cost kind of an opportunity. People don't want to invest that money, and especially they want to be infrastructure light. I saw your model because you have to have an office and things like that. But would you like to start with somebody who can start maybe work from home or some smaller offices and later build the capability? Would you be open for that option?
We are kind of flexible during this period. However, the point we want to put across is, again, I mean, the franchisee, when they enroll with us, they also have some expectation, and we want, them to grow along with us as well. So what happens in this particular business is, from our experience, we can impression plays a very big role. So, most of the students and permanent residency applicants, they enroll after they come visit you. They have a counseling session with you. So if your home office is able to put across that kind of impression, again, it depends on the location and what kind of infrastructure that you have, then you can start with that. But however, a good office always gives out a good impression, and that is very important in converting clients, because they will enroll ultimately when they get a good experience, they get a good counseling session in a good office setup. So that plays a big role in this case.
Another question I have is now getting into the business model part of it. So if you have 100 clients who come in, what is the percentage you would do for students which are coming in for a business model, and what percentage you would give it for a permanent immigration, and what percentage you would give for people who want to establish, because Canada has just launched a big program and they're working on creating this larger capabilities for new startups to actually start from Canada. So there are other funding. They have actually created a lot of incubators around the world, which are giving a lot of funding for if you are a new startup and you want to set up in Canada, they're giving you a lot of help on that. So first question is, what is the breakup of that? Generally, as a India, what is the total size of applicants India would do from a permanent immigration? Are you seeing a movement of startups going from India? And students, obviously, you have shared the number. And what is in your business model? What is Canada Wale breakup for that business?
Okay, so as we discussed, we deal in all things Canada. So be it students, permanent residency applications, as well as business investor program. Now, if we talk about the breakup, then again, it depends on the location. I mean, whether we are talking about the northern part of India or East India. So what we see in Delhi and Punjab is a lot of students want to study in Canada. So the majority of our clientele is comprising of students in the northern part of the country. So we can fairly say about 70% of our clients are students, and say about 25% of the clients are PR applicants, and the remaining 5% are either business or startup visa applicants, or tourist visa applicants, and then there are other categories as well. So students, comprises of the major chunk in the northern part of the country. However, if we talk about other metro cities like Bangalore or Hyderabad, where we have more number of young skilled employees who are aspirants who want to move abroad, then maybe the number of permanent residents from those territories are going to be more. But if we talk about the northern part of India, it's
and students also, how many are undergrads and how many are post graduation? Because I see a lot of undergrads also now looking at studying in Canada.
Absolutely. So previously, the trend was pretty much that after people complete their bachelor's degree in India, they wanted to pursue their higher studies, their masters, and then their PhD abroad. But right now, as far as Canada is concerned, because people have got to know that once they complete their high school, if they simply pursue a diploma in Canada for 2 years and work there for another 2 years, they can obtain permanent residency of Canada. And the kind of investment they are making into their education in Canada is kind of at par with India right now, because even in India, if you want to study BBA from a good institute, you're shelling out about 10-15 lakhs. And in Canada, it's pretty much at par. People get to work part-time, and they also get to make up their there. And after 4 years, they are at the age of 22, they are a permanent resident in Canada, which is they're already settled in their lives at the age of 22, because after that they can get into a good job in Canada. They can set up their own business. So a lot of people are going to Canada these days just after completion of their high school, and that is again the majority chunk of the students that we get these days. Once they are done with their +2, they are moving to Canada for their either their bachelor's degree or their 2 years.
And one more question I would have, and then I'll pass it on to Sonia. In these relationships where a lot of people are there in education abroad and things that, do you have some kind of exclusive relationships with these universities or colleges, or you just work on a case-to-case basis? And because you specialize only in one country, and there are a lot of other players in the market who are working on study abroad, and they do Europe and US and Canada and other markets, so they obviously offer more options. But you, because you're a specialist on Canada, do you have some exclusive relationships?
Associated with us, and that is why we get a very handsome commission from them, which we share with our franchisee partners. And moreover, the reason that we specialize in Canada is because it's not a good idea to be a multi-cuisine restaurant. We believe in being a specialist. So being a specialist Italian restaurant, having a niche, is much better than being all over the place. And if we look at the statistics these days from India, majority of the students are going to Canada, and majority of the people, skilled professionals, they're migrating to Canada. So Canada is the biggest market right now.
And how many students would Canada Wale would handle in a year, and what margins you normally would get per student to be shared with our franchisees, with your franchisees?
Okay, so if we put all the territories together, then Canada Wale is handling on an average of 150 plus students annually. And the kind of margins that we are talking about is again depending on the college or the university, because we have a different kind of agreement with all the different colleges and universities. Some even offer up to 30% commission on the first year's tuition fee, whereas some big universities, they only offer, say, 10%. So the commission ranges between 10% to 30% of the first year's tuition fee. Now, the first year's tuition fee, usually the median figure is about 15,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 8 lakh in INR. So we are looking at 10 to 30% of that, as far as the commission is concerned.
Absolutely, very helpful. Sonia, your remarks on the opportunity and some questions from your side.
Thank you so much, Anurag, for coming in today. I think Canada has been news ever since US kind of shut their doors to migration. And we also, like you mentioned, seeing a lot of people, rather Indian immigrants in US also going to Canada. And migration overall is a very global phenomena. It leads to a very interconnected world. Today, the movement of people across the world, across these borders, are also boosting a big global productivity. And that is the reason many countries have encouraged migration. And today, total GDP contribution, which happens, is contributed, 10% of that is contributed by these immigrants all across the world. And maybe to touch upon a little bit of more stats, 80% of these people today are migrating from developing countries to developed countries. And India obviously is one of the biggest and I would say leading origin country, not only in Canada, but across the world. We had almost 17 million people who migrated from India to various countries in the last year. I'll ask some questions, Anurag, pertaining to some of the Q&A which I see in the box. And one question is obviously pertaining to COVID. What is the current stats that we see or trends that we see? While I'm sure a lot of people might be reading about maybe the feedback of Canada, and what I have, then you would perhaps add on to that. They've given a lot of relaxations during this period on their policies to help accommodate immigration goals of people around the world, not only India, but across the world, where they're also accepting many incomplete applications and they're not rejecting outright. So how do you see the trend post this current situation?
Yes, although COVID unfortunately has been a pandemic globally and many countries have suffered from it. For instance, as far as immigration is concerned, US has completely locked its doors to expats. Even Australia and New Zealand, for that matter, they have almost locked their gates. So they are not taking in any more expats. As far as Canada is concerned, so there was a speech by one of the ministers the other day. They are saying since immigrants are the backbone of the country, so we will still welcome them, and they are not going to curb on the immigration. The target still remains, 1.3 million immigrants is what they need by 2021. And moreover, it's such a benevolent country, even for the new permanent residents and people who have already obtained permanent residency in Canada. If they have lost their job during the COVID phase, they are offering $2,000 to every permanent resident in Canada, so that they can at least take care of their basic necessities. And even to the students, they have offered some good grants to international students as well. So Canada is a very benevolent country, and definitely needs more and more immigrants because that's the backbone of the country. Temporarily during the COVID phase, the hiring was a bit slow, but again, Canada is recovering now. The number of cases on a daily basis is about 300 to 400, and by September, Canada is going to be, alive and kicking again. And talking about the student visa, it has become a bit more lenient. So now it's the right time to apply. A lot of colleges and universities are offering very good scholarships. So if students are applying at during this time, they will be able to avail of very good scholarships, and the student visa process is also much more lenient now. So, so this is the right time to apply pretty much.
Yeah, that's what we have been reading too. I think it's a good opportunity for a lot of, because they're also accepting applications which are not fully complete. Another question, which I want to take is, because you also run outside India, there are countries. I have a question from one of our prospects at the webinar who wants to know if Bangladesh or any other country outside, maybe if that is something you want to answer, you would be open for awarding a franchisee outside India is one of my questions. And second, if you can also talk about your own infrastructure in Canada, because you have obviously one office in India, but how are you, because you mentioned you have some tie-ups in Canada with universities, but how do you do that? Do you have people out there in Canada, your own infrastructure in Canada? How do you support all that?
Absolutely. We have our own office in North York, and that is where I sit. So I keep traveling between India and Canada because we have businesses everywhere in Africa as well. So we have our own office in North York, and we also hold, seminars there for clients and students. Once they arrive in Canada, we hold some events so that we can give them some kind of orientation and any help that they require from us. So like I mentioned during the presentation, that we are there to hold your hands once you are in Canada, and we are there to mentor you, and we are there to see to it that you actually get settled down in Canada. So moving in Canada is not the goal. The goal is to succeed in Canada, and that is where we come into the picture all through till the time you settle down. And talking about franchisees in other countries, definitely we are open to international opportunities as well, since we have our presence in the Middle East and Africa as well. Bangladesh is a huge market. So Bangladesh, there are a lot of students from Bangladesh who are moving to Canada these days, and all the big universities also have Bangladeshi communities these days. There is a street in Toronto which is called Danforth Avenue, and that street is full of Bangladeshis. You get to read Bangladeshi fonts there. So Bangladesh is a huge market, and we are pretty much optimistic about it. And if there is someone who is interested to have a franchisee there, we can have a further discussion regarding it.
Sure. And now, based on the kind of operating expenses, I have one question which is asked: what kind of staff requirement do we have in a center of Canada Wala? How many people does it require?
Okay, that again depends on the territory. I mean, which city or state that franchisee in, because talking about Punjab and Gujarat, the centers are going to be bigger because the market is huge. So see, a minimum of 3 employees are required, because one needs to be the counselor, and there needs to be at least 1 telecaller to handle all the leads, and there needs to be a dedicated IELTS instructor. So a minimum of 3 employees is what we are looking at, and if the center is bigger in size, then we are looking at at least 5 to 6 employees. So these things, yeah.
Okay, and because because the franchisee himself will come with some kind of capabilities, and he can replace a lot of other jobs for which he need not hire other people. So do you see that as an answer to the resources at the center?
that depends on the profile of the person. So if the franchisee owner is, qualified to handle such capabilities, then definitely that can be discussed once we get across the table.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Also open for some master franchise opportunities. If somebody comes from a full state or and develops this, because a lot of people also can see our multi-unit franchise, because if say you're running some service business and you want to integrate your piece also and utilizing their current infrastructure, and so would you be open for a master or a multi-unit?
Absolutely, why not? I mean, if someone wants to do that, we can
I think
definitely
that there's a
discuss
good
that.
opportunity in a lot of underpenetrated markets like Northeast.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Punjab and Gujarat and some Hyderabad are probably the one of the largest concentration for immigration and so on and so forth. But a lot of underpenetrated markets are there. East is very underpenetrated, where the aspiration and for going abroad is still there. But because historically immigration was done in these 3, 4, 5 states big time, so they have actually a lot of consulting firms have also mushroomed in these in these territories. So I feel that there's a huge opportunity in UP, MP. These are markets which have much more opportunity available for going and penetrating and taking a leadership.
Absolutely, these markets are entirely untapped, and as we know these days, Middle India is the real India, and there are a lot of aspirational people from these, tier 2, tier 3 cities and towns, and people are skilled there. They are highly educated, and they have the skills required to qualify as a student or a permanent residency applicant for Canada. So definitely, we are open to master franchisee options in these particular territories.
Ruth, I have a question which I'm sure a lot of other people can also benefit from, is from a gentleman from Bombay, Roger Mirinda. He is looking for Bombay. So we are obviously open for Bombay. That was his question. And the second is because he seems to be in some business which he's running. He wanted to know if he could use his existing office or a premise to also start Canada Wala. Is that option?
Well, yes, that needs to be discussed. So we need to take a look at that particular location. Where is it located? What is the kind of square feet area? And of course, some interior fit outs needs to be done so that the branding can be done properly. So if it is a decent enough office which meets our requirements, and along with the interior fit outs, that can be made into our Canada Valley office as well. That can be arranged for. Yeah.
You mentioned about 70% of people going to Canada are students. So I have a question regarding what kind of courses these students opt for is one question which I have. I think STEM is one of the courses, one big category which people opt for. So I have Mr. Siva Kumar. He wants to know which are the categories students are applying for, which is the biggest of all.
Okay, that's a very good question. So biggest of all would be business administration. A lot of people are opting for business administration because most of the jobs are in that particular sector. And then there is IT. So be it big data. Big data is huge in Canada these days. And then a lot of people are also opting for hospitality management, because hospitality industry is also booming in Canada. So yeah, it's mostly either IT, business administration, hospitality, and of course, a lot of people are also opting for computer engineering and some other engineering courses. So these are the big, the most popular courses, and because we deal in more than 500 colleges and universities, we have a course for everyone. So depending on the profile, we assess the profile of the student, and then we suggest the appropriate courses for the student. And one more thing that we do is, which not a lot of consultants do, we also give them a fair idea about the job market in Canada. So we do a counseling with each student, and we tell them, which course is going to help them to settle down in Canada in future, obtain a PR, and get a decent job for a good living in Canada.
Okay, great. Anirudh, I was looking at more questions that perhaps could be answered. I have master franchise questions. We have taken that up, and we can rather do one-on-one with the people. And there's some cities like UK, which is Uttarakhand. People want to know if we are open for those locations. Another question which I want to ask is, because you're not the only one in this space who's doing immigration from India. There are many others. How do you differentiate yourself from the unorganized ones, and even people like Y-Axis or Global Tree? What is your value proposition, and how do you create maybe an advantage over these players?
Absolutely. That's very important. So even if we talk about the big organizations in India, they don't have an RCIC who is a part of the organization. Maybe they have some third-party agreement with some RCIC sitting in Canada. How it works is not all the clients consulted by the RCIC, because that is just a third-party agreement that these companies have with an RCIC sitting in Canada, which is more like a showpiece. And the RCIC doesn't even know about all the clients that these companies are taking care of. Here, the clients get personalized attention from the RCIC. So I'm an RCIC, like I discussed before, and I, supervise all the files before they are documented, so that we make sure that the quality control is absolutely top notch. Because agents sitting out there who are not recognized by the Canadian immigration authorities, they are just people who have read some blogs and they think that they know everything about Canadian immigration. But RCICs are the ones who have studied immigration law over the years, and they have got a license. So it's like, whether if you fall sick, this is the example that I give to everyone. If you fall sick, would you go to a medicine shop and ask for a medicine, or would you rather go to a doctor and get the right kind of advice? So when people come to us, they get the right kind of advice. That is the advantage of being associated with an RCIC. And that is what you can tell all your clients, that we are licensed by Canadian immigration authorities. That is number one. Number two is talking about post-landing services. So most of the companies who are here in India, they are just, processing the visa, and then they forget the client. After the client arrives in Canada, that is where the real journey begins. So, in a new country, a person usually doesn't have a direction. They don't know where to go for what, and, how to start the things there. So we help them with everything, starting from finding a job, getting a good accommodation there, applying for their driver's license, opening a bank account. So they are not alone in a new country. We are there to mentor them until they settle down in Canada.
Okay. And Ruth, while we talked about the annual revenues or the potential from a center, what kind of operating cost we have at the outlet is one of the last questions which I am seeing by one of our investors. What kind of
so I will just give you a ballpark figure right now, because these things have to be discussed across the table when we take it further. There is a proper Excel sheet which we need to look into. So see, the OPEX also, I mean, there are multiple things which we look at here. There is marketing, there is rent, staff, office expenses. So say, I mean, if we are looking at a 60 lakh of, net profit, then the OPEX would be, say, around, about 1 crore, if we are doing that kind of aggressive marketing. But again, this is not what the initial investment would be. The initial investment would be between 10 lakhs, and then you will be pretty much rolling out the revenues. I mean, once you generate the revenues, you keep a fraction of it as your net profit, and the remaining you further roll out in the business to expand further for marketing and other expansion possibilities.
Okay, Ruth, I'd like to take this because there's some people who are also from maybe tier 2 and in certain cases 3, and they want to understand if the franchise fees or investment, so to say, for them would be considered if they take into these locations.
Okay, yeah, I mean, definitely these are things that need to be discussed when we take it further. So I mean, those negotiations are possible once we get to understand their potential, and what is the kind of location that they will cater to, and what is the kind.
Great. Ruth, is there help or assistance that you give to immigrants also on the job offer? Because certain kind of documents which are required at the local level. And one question which I have is, would you be helping them in even procuring a job offer from any of the companies in Canada? Is that also something which comes as a scope of your service to the people?
Okay, so when we talk about job offers from Canada, there is something called Labor Market Impact Assessment, LMIA. So the Canadian employer needs to prove to the Canadian government that this particular skill set is not available in the local Canadian job market, hence they have to hire someone from another country. So yes, we do have employer connections in Canada, and we do help in the LMIA process and then the work permit application thereafter. And we are also running a caregiver program right now, which is very popular. there are a lot of employers that we have who are looking for nannies and caregivers for the elderly. And the requirement, eligibility requirement for that is also pretty low. So a lot of people from India are applying for that, and we have got many candidates enrolled with us. So we have many employers, more than 250 employers as far as that is concerned. So we deal in both LMIA as well as caregiver program, employers. And when we are talking about LMIA, it's all sorts of LMIA, be it for managerial positions, for IT, even truck drivers for that matter.
Sure. Ruth, one last question which I want to ask, pretty much we've covered all, is what tip for the end consumer or user you want to give, when they have a lot of these agents or companies, which are, some of them are registered, some of them are not, and some are typically agents who are just sourcing and giving further. What tip do you have for people who want to immigrate? What is that they need to look at the checklist? These are 5 things they need to look at when they reach out to a consultant or an agent. Is something that you want to talk about?
Absolutely. First of all, the client needs to check with the consultant whether the consultant is an RCIC or not. A lot of consultants say that we
for any consultant before he starts advising, is that mandatory for every consultant to have?
Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, you see, I mean, if you're talking about the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act of Canada, so the Canadian government has only authorized RCICs and lawyers, Canadian lawyers, to offer immigration advice to clients for a fee. If they are not a member of the Immigration Council of Canada or a Bar Council of Canada, then they are not authorized to offer immigration advice to any client. It's absolutely illegal, and the Canadian government is taking it very seriously. They are, also taking legal actions against such companies, and they have it in their radar that a lot of companies are doing such unauthorized business, and they are taking actions already. So the client needs to check whether the consultant is an RCIC or not. A lot of consultants claim that, okay, I'm not an RCIC, but I have a partner in Canada, or an agreement with an RCIC in Canada. A lot of people make such false claims. The client should tell the consultant, then I am willing to speak to that RCIC in person. I don't want any advice from you. Connect me to that RCIC. I want advice from that RCIC. So the client needs to verify all these details, because there are so many scams going around as far as immigration and overseas education is concerned, especially in Punjab. A lot of scams, and people are wasting their money on unauthorized companies like that.
And can one find the names of these registered people on any of the websites?
Absolutely, yes. So there is a website called ICC. The link later. So ICCRC is this immigration council that I'm talking about. So if you Google ICCRC registered, then it will redirect you to the page, which is the public registry, and you can type the name of any consultant, and you will get to see the details and the license number of that consultant.
All right, great. And I think that was very helpful. All right.
Pleasure is all mine.
So I think we've taken a lot of questions. Final word from you, Anirudh, on the industry, and a little bit, anything you want to talk about, especially looking at the current circumstances going on. While we see this is a huge opportunity, and I think post this all settling down in 2 to 3 months, I think Canada immigration would rise, and Canada would take this as an opportunity to open their doors more. And this year, I think, even next year, I think even more the student base would go even higher, because people would trust on their capabilities, and they have actually, as a country, also handled everything very responsibly. So we feel that there is a huge opportunity, and that's why we invited you. So over to you, Anirudh, and then Sonia, your viewpoints.
Thank you.
Yes. So, I mean, talking about the COVID situation, although it's very unfortunate that, more than 2 million people are going to lose their job, and a lot of people have already lost their jobs. Now, these are all skilled employees, and they are pretty much qualified to apply for Canadian permanent residency. So we can tap into this market who are losing these jobs during this COVID phase, and we can help them in applying for Canadian permanent residency, because Canada is going to be stable after the COVID as well, because the government has assured the economy is pretty stable, and right now they have the situation under control, unlike the US. And these days, apart from Canada, all countries have curbed immigration. I mean, be it US, Australia, New Zealand, after COVID, all countries will curb on immigration. However, Canada is going to be the only country which is going to welcome immigrants with open arms. So this is the right time to get into this business. And moreover, like I said, I mean, this process, it's not an overnight process. I mean, be it students or permanent residency applications, uh, they come, they register with us, and then we process their file. So it takes good 4, 5, 6 months for the process, depending whether it's a student or a permanent residency applicant. So, if they apply now, they will be able to move to Canada, say in early one. So, I mean, we can definitely, start it right now, start talking to the clients now, talking about from the perspective of the franchisee and, get them enrolled. So it's not that right now the international borders are closed. So what will happen? So we are talking about 4 or 5 months down the line. So Canada will again start international flights and open their borders by July or max August. That's what we hear. So yeah, we are good to go. And the investment is also, it's an asset light model. It's a service industry. So there is not much of an investment here, and the revenues are pretty good. The break-even time we are looking at is 6 to 7 months, and we are looking at a monthly net profit of say 5 to 6 lakhs, which is pretty good, I guess, talking about a franchisee point of view.
Thanks, Anirudh, so much. One question, which came from your annual, what is the gestation time for people, because by the time they get admission, and by the time these people get their commission or revenues coming in, what is the minimum gestation time one franchisee should be ready for?
Okay. So very good question, because we have multiple sources of revenue. So first of all, let's start with the IELTS classes. So IELTS classes, you charge the fee from the student upfront. Okay. So there is no gestation time as far as IELTS classes are concerned. Even for permanent residency applicants, as in skilled workers, people who have a bachelor's or master's degree and a couple of years of work experience, if they want to apply for permanent residency of Canada, again, the fee there is upfront. It's charged in 2 installments. So the fee is 1,20,000, 60,000 advance and 60,000 once they get their invitation to apply. So even that is upfront. Talking about students, some of the colleges that are associated with us, because we have a very old with them, they're also offering the commission to us upfront, which they don't do it with any other agent in India. So with some of the colleges, we have this, facility that we get to keep the commission upfront as soon as the student registers, enrolls with that college, the commission is paid to us. Whereas for most other colleges, it takes about 2 to 3 months after the student starts classes in Canada. So in that case, after the student registers with us, it takes about 5, 6 months. The student needs to travel to Canada, start the classes, and that's when we get the commission from those colleges. But since we have multiple revenue streams, that is why a lot of the revenues are upfront and a portion of it comes in later. And if we are talking about a break-even period, then we are looking at 6 to 7 months by the time we,
Great.
take it further aggressively.
Thank you so much, Anirudh. I think you've answered almost everything and very detailed description and insights. And I personally feel Canada is one of the biggest markets, especially for India, always growing. Even before the lockdown started, until April, they had the biggest number of PRs, close to 24% PRs, which Canada had came from India. So it's a great opportunity, and we see this business growing in the coming time. Wishing you all the best, Anirudh.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Archana, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Anirudh, for giving us this opportunity and giving us that understanding about your brand. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, sharing your thoughts, your insights. Thanks all the friends and families who have joined us and you spend our time with us understanding about this particular brand. As usual, you can connect with Franchise India, but to start with, you can connect with Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their respective LinkedIn ID. That's the information given at your screen. You can connect with them, share your suggestions, share your issues with us. You can also connect with Franchise India team through your calls, through your WhatsApp, through your mails. And you can follow us on our various social links that includes Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. The recorded version of this particular webinar is available at Franchise India Brands Limited and Franwork Facebook page. Do visit us to understand it better. So before we go, and we have another great opportunity coming tomorrow. It's a special webinar which we organize every Friday, where we take a top 10 brands of industry, of various industry, and where Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, our panelist brand representative, talk about their respective brands. So do not miss this chance. Join us tomorrow. We will be sharing the confirmation mail as well as registration mail with each one of you. Register yourself before in time so that you can get an opportunity to speak and to understand top 10 brands performing well in market. Thank you so much for joining us today. Take good care of your health and your family. Stay safe. Our best wishes with everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.